Big Sills! Welcome aboard. 36 days to the start of training camp. How you doing? 36 days to July 27th. Dude, you better be ready to rock and roll. We are absolutely packed. We're going to veer off the page a little bit, too. Hour number 3, a Philadelphia sports legend, Curt Schilling, is going to join us at 5:30 Eastern time. I love catching up with my friend. I'll tell you what, man. Hey, listen, I don't always agree with Curt Schilling's political views. But what I do love about certain people, if you have a view on something and you have conviction on something, I love that. I don't have to agree with you. But I do love people that have conviction. And his convictions are keeping him out of the Hall of Fame. That's right, JM. He's unapologetic, man. And by the way, he loved being a Philly. He just loved pitching in Philadelphia. Can you imagine this? Curt Schilling, I know he pitched in Arizona too, won a World Series and a World Series MVP along with Randy Johnson. So you pitched in Boston and in Philly. Can you have an any more tougher fan base than that? Dude, you got to show up every fourth day and you got to give the goods, don't you, man? Because no matter what you did in your past, no one gives a shit. That's why we love Curt Schilling, man. He's a champion. And that's why we'll have him on hour number 3 at 5:30 Eastern time. All right. Hey, I got a chance to watch Real Sports with Brian Gumbel last night. And I was really glad that the interview went out. I thought Andrea Kramer completely went overboard on the interview a little bit, but that's okay because that's kind of what they have to do. Like Leslie Stahl going in on Trump or something, saying that the laptop or this and that has not been proven, and then get this, you don't really have all the facts. I actually talked to the district attorney. I've actually talked to people that were pressing charges initially against him. And when they dropped all charges and all accusations against Matt Araiza, I was like, wow, he's been totally vindicated. And let me ask you something. You know, it's easy to say that Matt Araiza has been exonerated, but there's also a civil case out there. He's being sued for $50,000. $50,000? And he refuses to settle. He said he has the money. He's not, because that's an admission of guilt. He is not. They wanted to settle for $50,000. $50,000 doesn't even cover your court cost. If you're bringing charges against Matt Araiza, $50,000 is all you're going after? You don't have a case. Hey, and by the way, let me underscore this. That is such a sad situation, and I'm sorry for both sides. I'm more sorry for the girl side, too, because I'm not going to say anything negative towards her because what an ugly situation, man. My God almighty. Being her father right now, man, I wouldn't know what to do, and I feel for her. Man, do I. But I don't think that Matt Araiza should be the expense or collateral damage of something that people are saying he had nothing to do with. That's not fair. That's not fair to drag a kid's name into something. Okay? It's not fair. The Jets said they'll have no problem. Here's what I see. I could see a team putting Matt Araiza on their practice squad. I could see someone signing him. Get this. I know The Rock has cleared him next year if he wants to play in the XFL, to punt in the XFL. He's been cleared. So in 2024, when the XFL kicks up next year, he can punt for them. And they've cleared him. So it's starting to see a glimmer of hope that maybe he gets an opportunity. And you know what? I got to throw something out to the guys at Crossing Broad. Kevin Kincaid, is that his name? Sent me a text and he goes, here you go. And so he sent me a tweet, actually, I should say. And I'm glad to see that, he's staying on top of this case too, because he was kind of anti-Matt Araiza until now some of the facts have started coming out. By the way, I don't believe he's wrong either, because I was against Matt Araiza when the facts started first coming out, or the accusation started coming out. Okay? I said the same thing. So he's not wrong. We all jump to conclusions always. Oh, because today we're in a society where facts don't matter. Hollering the loudest and being first is the only thing that matters in sports broadcasting today. That's the only thing that seemingly matters. Like I said, we got to dude, I can't tell you. We got some college news. We have some, I guess I said, Curt Schilling. Top 10 wide receivers. I saw PFF, since you guys love those guys so much. The Big Sills, top 10 wideouts in the NFL, my opinion. And also, we're going to look, because somebody brought this up yesterday, 49ers and Cowboys. I want to show you something before we get going here into the topics. This is incredible. Who do you guys think? No, I'm not going to go this way. I'm just going to tell you. Since 2000, I want to show you the dominance of certain teams in the National Football League compared to others. Since 2000, the most NFL playoff wins. Number 1, Patriots, 30. Number 2, tied with the Ravens, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 15. By the way, Eagles 16, Ravens 16. Number 4, the Green Bay Packers and the Seahawks are at 14. These are teams that have the most playoff wins since 2000. Number 5, the Colts at 13. Number 6, the Chiefs and the 49ers. Number 11, the Giants. Number 8, the Saints and the Rams. These are teams with the most playoff wins since 2000. Number 9, Panthers and Buccaneers at 8. Number 10, the Broncos at 7. Number 11, the Falcons. 6, the Jets. 6. Number 12, the Titans. 5, the Vikings. 5, the Bengals. 5, the Chargers. 5, the stupid-ass Arizona Cardinals. 5. These are teams with the most wins in the playoffs since 2000. 13, the Dallas Cowboys at 4. The Dallas Cowboys have had 4 wins since 2000. Over 23 years, the Dallas Cowboys have only 4 playoff wins. Tied with the Texans, the Raiders, the Bills. This is incredible. The Jags. Here's who the Cowboys are on the same level with postseason-wise since 2000. The Texans, the Raiders, the Bills, and the Jags. Bears with 3, Washington 1, Miami 1. I'm shocked. Cleveland 1, and of course the Lions have no playoff wins since 2000. Why do we sit here every year and beat the drum of the Dallas Cowboys? What in the world do we sit here and constantly go down that lane that the Cowboys are going to be competitive again? 4 wins. The Eagles have 16. Shit, let me add this up. The Eagles have 16 wins since 2000. Let's see here. Giants, 11. Cowboys, 4. Washington, 1. So let me get this right. Combined, the Eagles have as many playoff wins as the Giants, the Cowboys, and Washington have combined. That is unbelievable dominance. The Philadelphia Eagles own the NFC East. They may not have pulled back-to-back NFC East titles like since, what is that, 2004? They own the East. They own it. No team in that division has had the success that the Philadelphia Eagles have had. I get the Eli Super Bowls, understand it. But maybe what we should make more, we put an addendum on what I just said. The consistent, elite dominance of that division resides in Philly. And yet the media looks at you guys like you're always the underdog. The Cowboys have 4 wins. It's an absolute shit show. Here, get this. The Cardinals, the Arizona stupid-ass Mike Bidwell Cardinals, have more playoff wins. More playoff wins than the Cowboys. The Jets. And I ripped the Jets because of Fireman Ed. Dude. I saw this morning. I couldn't believe it. Don't ever tell me, hey, the Dallas Cowboys are the NFL's version of Notre Dame. They're the most overhyped team in professional sports in America. The Dallas Cowboys are the most overhyped team in American sports history, maybe. Dude, their best years are in the rearview mirror. You're trying to tell me they're Super Bowl contenders this year? How? And once they get to the playoffs, they're going to be Cowboy. They're just going to be normal. Dude, get this. This is not really to shit on the Cowboys. This is to just shit on the media for pubbing these guys. What has Dallas done to raise the value of that football team to make it sound like they're the Patriots? This is crazy. Dude, the Ravens and the Eagles are the most underappreciated football franchises that we have in the NFL. Ravens and Eagles, 16. Of course, the Steelers, too, because they're always the gold standard. They got 4 wins. I had to open with that. I had to open with that because here we are again. We're like 36 days away from the start of camp. And all I hear are Cowboy fans sending me tweets and sending me comments and people going like this, Cowboys are going to win the East. So, what if they do? What does that mean? They're like the Joel Embiid of the regular season. The Cowboys are Joel Embiid. Oh, we won the East. Our season's over. What about winning a Super Bowl? Fuck it. Ain't about that. It's about 17 weeks. Dude, 17 weeks for the Cowboys are more important than the Super Bowl in the postseason. Okay? Hey, look at Jalen. Going too far. Don't ever tell me the Dallas Cowboys are a true contender. Okay? They're not. They are not. They are not in the room. Big Sills, did you know Eagles and Steelers? Yes, I did back in the wartime. Steagles. Speed, thank you, man. Of course you know that. Dude, just being real. Right, James. This is just being realistic. Because again, here's what I'm doing. This is not, you want to hear this? This is not an opinion since 2000 that the Dallas Cowboys only have 4 playoff wins. That's not an opinion. That has nothing to do with an opinion. Man. And here we are again. Okay? People saying the Cowboys are going to win the East. They got a good team. And we're going to take a look at all that here in a minute. But come on, man. You got to start stepping up there. Jerry Jones. Let me think about this. So when Jimmy was at the Cowboys, I think he was 5-2. Coach Johnson in 5 years, I think someone can correct me on this. But I think Jimmy in Dallas, I want to say, well, shit, he had to go undefeated in the playoffs 2 years in a row, so that's 6 wins. Dude, Jimmy had to be like 6-2 in Dallas in 5 years. Had to be maybe 7-2, something nutty like that. And Jerry in the last 23 years, going into 23 years, has won 4 playoff games since Johnson left. Man. Do me a favor. Anytime you hear anybody touting Dallas Cowboys as Super Bowl contenders, bring that stat up. Why would I believe you're going to do anything? Why would I believe you're going to do anything? You haven't. This is going to be the different year? Crazy. All right. I'm going to do something today to kind of push my point across the table here. And I want to do something here. First and foremost, maybe I should start this off a little bit lighter because I got 2 Jalen Hurts topics. Let me do this here. Because somebody brought this up on the program over the last couple days. And it was Gary Cobb. Gary Cobb, when he was on the other day with us, that he said that he thought that Jalen Hurts was ahead of Randall Cunningham. So what I did was I didn't use Jaws because Jaws was first initially drafted by the Dolphins. No, Rams. Was it Dolphins or Rams? I forget. One of those two. Jaworski was not initially an Eagle. He came over to the Eagles. He had already been at another team. Was it the Dolphins? Maybe Jaworski was a Dolphin, and then he went to the Rams later in his career. It's something like that. I think that's how it worked. Okay? So I picked guys that the Eagles have drafted since Randall Cunningham. Okay? Here's Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts so far in his 3 years. These are 3 years so far. 3 year starts. Jalen Hurts, 1,040 attempts, 648 completions, 62.3 percentage completion, 79.06, 44 touchdowns, and 19 picks. That's not bad. It's not bad. Especially, again, I didn't put in the running component here. Okay? And I get there's more to the kid, just like there is more to Randall, and to some extent, McNabb. So I didn't put the running component in here, just the passing. Here's Randall Cunningham in his first 3 years in Philly. 696, 368 completions, 51.3 completion percentage. Jalen kills him here. 47-25, 32 touchdowns and 28 picks. Hurts clearly has a better start, like Gary said, and where he is right now in his career than what Randall Cunningham. Now, Jalen's getting better coaching. I got all that. I'm just throwing some stats out at you here. And then we're going to debate something here in a minute. Here's McNabb in his first 3 years starting in Philly. 1378, 721 completions, 56.9 percentage in completion percentage. Jalen's thrown for more yards in his first 3 years than what McNabb has done. I found that shocking, 75-46. Not by a lot. But Jalen Hurts has thrown for more passing yards than what McNabb did in his first 3 years as an Eagle quarterback. That's pretty impressive. I'll tell you, I was shocked with that number. I was shocked. McNabb has 10 more touchdowns at 54. But here's something to keep an eyeball on. He had 32 turnovers, INTs. Jalen had 19. I don't know. If I were to look at that, I would say Jalen Hurts has had a better 3-year start to his career than what McNabb has had. And McNabb had 2 years in a row where he won 11 games in his first 3 years. Jalen Hurts has had a better start to his career than Donovan McNabb and Randall Cunningham. This is a positive for him. I'm actually shocked. Randall's thrown the ball more, has more completions, wasn't like he wasn't winning his first 3 years, and actually he became a starter sooner. And yet he's thrown for less yards. Dude, Jalen Hurts is not really a prototypical passer. And he's thrown more yards than what I would consider a prolific passer in McNabb. When you guys said, Sills, he's going to pass McNabb one day as the all-time leading yardage guy in passing yards, you might be right. You might be right. Again, the turnovers. Hey, I get the 54 touchdowns to 44 touchdowns. I get that. But the picks is what bugs me. So Jalen's thrown for 10 less touchdowns. McNabb threw 32 interceptions in his first 3 years. Okay? And Hurts threw 19. I'll take Jalen Hurts' touchdown-interception ratio over McNabb's any day. Okay? I'll take that. Okay? James, I know JM constantly likes to bring up the Burt Bell Award, but now we're going to go to another Burt Bell winner. He always excludes this. Here's Carson Wentz now. 1,548 attempts, 923 completions, 64.1% completion percentage, 10,153 passing yards, 70 touchdowns, and 28 picks. Carson Wentz has had by far a superior start to his career than what Jalen Hurts has had. Superior. Okay? And because JM likes to bring up the Burt Bell MVP award, Carson Wentz has also won that in 2017. And he did that in his first 3 years too. So, he's got, if you're going to count that for Jalen, you count it for Wentz. He's also an MVP. And he finished second in the other MVP. So, personally, Wentz has had a better start to his career than what Hurts has had. Now, again, to be fair to Jalen, there's a running component here. You just can't dismiss 11 rushing touchdowns and almost 800 yards. I'm not. So, passing-wise, I said he's had a better start. So if you put Jalen's rushing the last 2 years into it, I would have to say it's a toss-up on who's had a better start to their career of 3 years. I think it's a toss-up. But to see where Jalen Hurts is right now, Jalen Hurts has a chance of being better than every single one of these quarterbacks. I'm actually shocked. Got to tell you, I'm shocked. Good. Hey, good for her. Good. Hey, this is not a rip because, again, remember what we talk about Patrick Mahomes being a passer, and he can't do the things that Jalen can do, and Jalen can't do the things that Patrick Mahomes can do. Okay? There's no shade anywhere in this. There's no throwing shade anywhere. Okay? No shade. That's why I think it's a toss-up. And there was a Super Bowl for Wentz and a win. Well, he didn't play and play. I get it. And Jalen doesn't own a ring. Okay? All I'm saying is this is a coin flip. I think it's a coin flip. That's why I tell you, 2023 is going to tell us a lot more about Hurts. But Jalen Hurts is in a position right now where Carson Wentz was a couple years ago, and Jalen Hurts could become the all-time Philadelphia Eagle passer. And again, I didn't put Jaws in this because he wasn't a homegrown guy. And no disrespect to Jaws, he's also a Burt Bell MVP winner. No disrespect to Jaws at all. At all. Okay? At all. This is actually an eye-opener for me. I would never have said that Jalen Hurts had more passing yards in his first 3 years than McNabb. No way. No way. I don't look at him like that. Now I do. You know, the more you look at things, plus he's 23-11. Now, again, McNabb had 2 11-win seasons in his first 3 years as well. Wasn't like he wasn't winning ball games. He was. Pretty impressive, though. Now, does Jalen have – look, I'm not debating who's got more talent, better coaching. Andy Reid was also the coach on that team with McNabb. So when you say he didn't have the wide receivers, I'll take Andy Reid over an A-plus wide receiver because we've shown you can win Super Bowls without A-plus wide receivers. If you got a great play caller and a great quarterback, you can win a ton of games. And that's what the Eagles did back in the Reid era. So, again, not debating any of that. Okay? Debo goes, damn, weren't you criticizing him yesterday? Now, you haven't let me continue. Why don't you sit back and have a meal, Debo? And I told you that I'm getting to another topic here. Jesus Christ. Listen to the full conversation, bro. Okay? Let it come out. You know, don't hear just 5% of what you want to hear. Now let's get into why and if Jalen Hurts. All good, Debo. Hey, man. All good, brother. All good. Here, now let's get into this. Why do other people, social media has created this lack of patience. Hey, you know what, Tone? I have the attention span of a gnat myself. So Debo, excuse me too, because my attention span is like a gnat. And I'm with you. Again, I don't really sit around and have patience either. Okay? So that's a little bit on me too. But here's where I'm going with my topic now. Here's why the national media would never pick Jalen Hurts over any of those other quarterbacks, and why PFF doesn't rank Hurts above guys like Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Okay? All the things that I have said in my open. Here's why they don't see Hurts in the same. They don't see him under the same microscope that they see those other guys. What do you think the difference is between those other guys, like the Trevor Lawrences, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows, the Justin Herberts, that makes the national people look at those guys as more of a player that they'd build their franchise around? Why do you think they do that? I'm going to tell you here in a second. Okay? Why do you think they look at those other guys in a different way compared to when you look at Burrow, Allen, Lawrence? Why do you think they look at those guys differently? When Tua replaced him, a little bit of that. Matthew, probably there's some of that too, Matthew. You're not wrong. He's not a prototypical passer like those guys. He's going to go out there and throw 39 times a game. He's not going to do that because he doesn't have to. Not a first-round pick. These are all great points. Okay? Thank you, Debo. More of a man than me. Okay? All those things you guys just said are great. What separates those other guys? I'm going to show you here. Where's that list? The Eagles, since 2000, are the second most successful team in the National Football League to the Patriots. Okay? He's the second. They're the second most successful. Joe Burrow turned the Bengals around. The Bengals. What were the Bills before Allen showed up? What were the Chargers before Herbert showed up? What were the Jags before Lawrence showed up? These are all horrible organizations. Jalen Hurts rolled into one of the best organizations in the National Football League. He didn't have to turn a culture around. He didn't have to turn a losing mentality around. It was already set. Those guys went into places and changed the culture. I never would ever have said this in my life. That's a good point, Stoney. I don't know if the Chargers have changed that much since Phillip Rivers, where they are now with Herbert. But at least it makes them a playoff contender. Yeah, you're right. I'll take Justin Herbert out of that. Because the culture in Los Angeles with the Chargers, it's been that way for 40 years. So you're probably right. The Jags, the Bengals, the Bills, these are all horrible franchises. That's why they look at those guys differently. They changed the Bengals' culture around. Even Trevor Lawrence is changing the culture around. That's why they look at them different. Their greatness as being a quarterback, Jalen didn't have to do any of that. He rolled right into it. Loaded team, winning franchise. That's why you look at him as the lesser of those other guys. You look at him as the lesser. Now, the Eagles, what they've done here is they've pushed their chips in on one season with him because they think he's the guy that can win the NFC. Okay. I happen to think it doesn't take much to win the NFC. Now, again, this is not an Eagle thing. You arguably have 3 teams in the NFC this year that could win. I don't think you really have any team outside of the Niners and the Eagles that could win the Super Bowl. I don't think, get this, I don't think there's an NFC team right now outside of Eagles and 49ers that could win this thing. I think the AFC, I think they probably got 8 teams that can win it. It's going to be interesting to see what the Jets are about. I think the Jags are better than Seattle and Dallas. And that's the 7th team in the AFC. As I pointed out to you the other day, I think one of the reasons that Russell Wilson struggled going to Denver, he got into the big boy league. He moved up to the varsity level because he'd been playing in the JV level for the last 3 years. The NFC is now again, it all goes in cycles. And like I've told you this before, this is not a Jalen Hurts or a Philadelphia Eagle issue. The Eagles can't help. But I want to show you this too. Look at how many NFC teams. Look at how many NFC teams since 2013. Okay. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's 10. Look how many NFC teams are in this thing here in the top 10 and the most wins since 2013. Eagles at 16. Packers. Remember, Seahawks were a little bit in the AFC in the early 2000s. Then they changed conferences with realignment. Okay? So if you take those out of there, they're down a little outside the top 10. Colts, here. Eagles, 49ers, and Giants. 7 teams in the top 10 are AFC teams. It's not like the NFC has been great the last 23 years. It hasn't. Question, Sills, Tone. It is truly a bad NFC, or is it an overly exceptional AFC? Has the AFC ever been this deep with Super Bowl contenders? In the salary cap era, probably not. But back in the day when you had the Raiders and you had the Chiefs and the Dolphins, the Chargers, it was pretty deep then when you didn't have a lot of movement because of free agency. However, since salary cap, here's the problem though, okay? In the AFC, they pay for quarterbacks. In the NFC, they don't have any quarterbacks, so they got better rosters. I think Seattle's got a great roster. 49ers and the Eagles might have the best rosters in the league. You think there's really any team in the AFC that's got better rosters than San Francisco and Philadelphia? Is there a team in the AFC that has a better roster? It doesn't matter, though, once you get to the Super Bowl, when you take on one of those elite quarterbacks. Where would you rank the Eagles in the AFC? Still second behind the Chiefs. I would still rank the Eagles second behind the Chiefs. Now, if you're asking me who's got a better roster right now, Kansas City or Philly, I think Philadelphia has a better roster. But what you can't do is you haven't shown anything, especially in this offseason, that you've done one thing to upgrade your position to beat Patrick Mahomes. There's not one thing you've done to beat that guy. We brought this up yesterday. You've done nothing to improve your situation to beat Mahomes. He's beaten you 2 years in a row. You're going to have a shot at him. Once again, coming up here this year at Arrowhead. You have done nothing to improve your chances. He beat you last year. And you had the better team. I keep emphasizing that. So what is it better to have? Is it better to have a great roster and a really, really, really great quarterback? Or, like, here, I'll say this to you. Bengals in the Super Bowl versus the Eagles, that'd be another great game. That'd be another great game. I'll tell you this. Eagles versus here's how I look at your Eagles versus the elite teams. Eagles versus Bengals. That'd be a great game. I'd like to see that because I think the Bengals have a better defense than you. I do. I think they got a better defense. They play against elite quarterbacks every weekend. You don't. You do not. And they've been to 2 AFC championship games in a row. It's not like they haven't won. Eagles versus the Bills. Here's why I think you would beat the Bills. Because I think Allen would do something in the second half of a football game that would cost them. And Jalen, I know he dropped the ball in the Super Bowl, scoop and score. I got it. But I think there's a lesser chance of Jalen Hurts doing that again in a big game like that than Allen dropping the ball on his own goal line. So I think they would beat the Bills late. You guys already took care of the Jags a year ago. It was early in the season. Then the Jags got on. They're a better team than they were at the beginning of the season. We've seen this numerous times where teams have played teams before. Like, you know, that year that the Patriots were undefeated. You know the Patriots beat the Giants the last game of the year. And then once they got to the Super Bowl, the Giants beat them in the Super Bowl. So they're better. But I would still give the edge to the Eagles in that game. Chargers, Herbert does the same stuff that Allen does. He'll put one out there for you. And if you're able to capitalize, the Eagles capitalize on that stuff, on turnovers. I think they would capitalize on that. So I think you're still better than the Chargers too. I do. I think you're still better than the Chargers. Okay? So Eagles and Ravens speed. I think the Ravens are getting better on defense. But I still want to see what Odell Beckham is going to bring to that Raven offense. I don't know he's going to play a full season. I just don't know if he's capable of being able to play a full season. I have no idea. For the last 5 years, that guy's been injured. Okay? For the last 5 years. And I'm going to sit here and believe that guy is going to be in a position. Cleveland's good. I'm with you. Really good O-line. Really great defense. Awesome front four. I like their corners. They're good at linebacker. Another good team, but go do it. See, that's the depth of the AFC, though. We don't even talk about Deshaun Watson yet because we got to see. He kind of got like a redshirt year last year. And Deshaun Watson could elevate that Cleveland. I haven't even mentioned the Jets. What are the Jets going to look like? How good are the Jets? Dude, the Jets have to be the biggest question mark in the NFL this year. What's that thing going to look like? Is Aaron Rodgers going to look like he did 2 years ago when he was the MVP? Or is he going to look a little bit more like 2 years ago and a little bit of last year, where we start to see the decline? I know many of you think that Brady sucked last year. He didn't. He was spectacular. His O-line was terrible and his defense was decimated. And they couldn't overcome all those injuries. Brady had a great year last year. There wasn't a statistic last year that Jalen Hurts had passing the ball that Tom Brady wasn't 10 times better than him at, because he threw the ball almost 800 times. I mean, he had to throw the ball. Brady had a great year. It was just a bad team. Still 3 years in a row playoff run, though. Again, I'm not going to go back into the numbers and shit because I've already pointed that out. And I'm with you, Rock. Rock goes like this. Odell won't make it to week 5. Bro, I might be there with you. I might be there with you. JM brings up a great point about the Jets. You know, the Jets people and all the media, my boy Craig Carton keeps pushing this on me. Sills, Jets are it. I said, what about your O-line, man? It's rated one of the worst O-lines in the NFL. What about your left tackle, dude? Hey, you got a good defense. I think your defense is maybe the second best defense in the NFL personnel-wise. But what about that O-line of yours, man? Dude, you got a $60 million quarterback and a 6-cent O-line. Okay? I mean, what are you going to do about that O-line of yours? And you might want to get Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook. So again, I think the reason you look at Jalen Hurts a little there, Jalen didn't have to change the culture around. Culture was already set here. And that's why the Eagles, hey, let me say this to you. When you bring a guy like A.J. Brown in, who was coached by Mike Vrabel, and he fits right in like that, Mike Vrabel has a culture in Tennessee, too, that's kind of like a Belichick culture. That's another reason why he fit right in. But then when you got guys like Devonte Smith that are professional, and I'll say it one more time to you. Somebody texted me yesterday, and they go, I can't believe – somebody that I admire at the NovaCare Center texted me, and they went, that was one of the best takes. 3 coaches came to me and told me that you said this. 3 Eagle coaches came to my friend who's at the NovaCare Center and said this. They were shocked, and they agreed. I think A.J. Brown learned more from Devonte Smith a year ago than anything that A.J. Brown could have brought to Devonte. Devonte's a better worker. He works harder. He doesn't bitch. He's a professional consistently. He's a prototypical – he is Jalen Hurts at the wide receiver position. Of the people you have – I'll tell you this, man. That's a pro. In just his second year, he's a pro. The way he does business – and he didn't cry about not getting a catch in game 1 of the season. Dude, I know that I'm giving him slaps on the back for something that's not a big deal. But in today's NFL, that is a big deal. How many times do you see wide receivers crying when they win games and they get limited touches? You see these guys crying all the time. Man, I need to target me more. We won. I know, but we need – dude, get your bank out. Dude, Jalen Hurts acts like Devonte Smith, and Devonte Smith acts like Jalen Hurts. Guys who don't open their faces, do their job, and go to work. That's Belichick and Saban in their ear and in the way that they produce and in the way that they prepare. Just shut up and go to work. Put the work in, go out, and everything will fall in place. Devonte Smith has done a lot. Hey, by the way, Devonte benefited having AJ out there because of the physicality that he is when he catches the ball. I'm not saying he hasn't. But when it comes to preparation and being a pro, Devonte Smith brought more to A.J. Brown. I don't see A.J. Brown being – A.J. Brown goes, I got to be a better wide receiver. Shit, man, you know what Devonte Smith has to work on? Devonte Smith has to work on going to White Castle. Go to White Castle. Eat a pizza. Okay? That's the only thing he's got to work on. Eating a pizza. What does A.J. Brown have to work on? Yeah, when the play's not front side to you, make sure that you're engaged in the play. What would be the advice that you give Devonte Smith? Go eat a pizza. Go have a hoagie. Seriously, go eat a cheesesteak. Have 2 of them on me. I'll buy them. Dude, that's not really coaching. Just go eat a cheesesteak. Yeah, hey, tone goes like this. Smith needs a little Similac. No, he didn't say that. He needs a milkshake. No, hey, oh, he does, man. Dude, just go have a cheesesteak. Cheesesteak and a Coke. That's my advice for Devonte and his preparation for the upcoming season. Dude, the kid's a pro, man. He's very impressive. He's an impressive young man. We're going to look at – you guys wanted me to look at the 49ers schedule. We're going to do that here in a second. Okay? Speed. Big Seals, gabagool. Ben says Devonte Smith will be out of Philly in 4 or 5 years. No, AJ will. They're not getting rid of that guy. Absolutely not. I'm not going to pay AJ Brown $20 million in 4 years. I'm going to pay that kid on the other side $20 million. That's who I'm giving my money to. Yeah, because right now, the contract that AJ Brown has, that'll be Devonte Smith's contract in about 3 years. That'll be his. Okay. We're going to do this now. So do you guys see where I'm coming from a little bit here when it comes to how people look at Jalen? Jalen didn't have to turn a culture around like those other quarterbacks in the NFL have. Hey, how many people? Why don't you give Joe Burrow credit for turning that place into a winner? You think that's not a big deal? What were the Buffalo Bills before Josh Allen showed up? I missed it. Trevor Lawrence won a playoff game. And now you're the favorite to win that division again. Dude, the Jags are coming. It would not shock me if the Jaguars are one of the top 3 teams in the NFL this year. Would it? With Doug Peterson down there and all the talent that they've acquired over the last 5 years, would it shock you if the Jags were not one of the top 3 teams or top 5 teams in the NFL? I don't know, man. There's a lot of talent down there. A lot of talent in Jacksonville. And now you got a talented head coach. They haven't had a coach like him in that building since Tom Coughlin. Okay, so who has the best linebacker core? I want to say San Francisco. I think the Jets are pretty good. Broncos have a pretty good group. All right, let me get to the 49ers here. How you doing? Yeah. Just imagine Burrow on the Eagles. Good night, man. Jesus criminy. No disrespect to Jalen, but Burrow on the Eagles, man. If you like, how about this? If you like passing yards, Burrow on the Eagles would be a freak show. Would be a freak show. Dude, even Justin Herbert on the Eagles. Again, though, but here's why. And I know people are going like this. Are you throwing shade on Jalen? No, but here's something that, and I tone everyone. I think this is what everyone doesn't get what Hurts and why Hurts does things differently. Would Justin Herbert and would Trevor Lawrence and would Joe Burrow maximize the run game like Jalen does? My answer is no. Dan Marino never wanted to maximize a run game because he fell in love with his arm so much that they never truly maximized the run game. The Eagles maximize the strength of the team consistently. That's running the ball. You know, when you get a guy like when you get a guy like Joe Burrow on the Eagles, yeah, he's going to throw for a ton of yards. But there's going to be an expense, and you're going to have to compromise something. What's that? Not running the ball as effectively or as much. Okay? So what you become is finesse. And it takes the physicality away from your approach and how you go after teams. The Eagles, are the Eagles more physical than the Bengals? Yes. Are the Eagles more physical than the Bills? Yes. Are they more physical than the Chiefs? Yes. Okay? See, when you throw the ball 50, 60 times, something has to have a counter to that. Well, that means you're not running the ball at all. Why would you want a quarterback in Philadelphia? And again, I love Joe Burrow, but why would you want a quarterback in Philadelphia that doesn't maximize the strength of the team so that he can go and do and throw the ball around the yard? Can I tell you what you'll become? The Minnesota Vikings. You become the Vikings. Dalvin Cook averaged 213 carries in his years up in Minnesota. And I'm like this, 213? Did you really utilize that guy? His last 4 years or 5 years, whatever it's been, he's been a 1,000-yard back for you. Did you really maximize that? Or did you not? Or did you want to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson? See, there's not a maybe this comes down to this. There's just not enough balance in these other teams. You lose your balance. Is there another team in the NFL, in your opinion, that has the balance that the Eagles have? Okay? Is there? Hey, Tone, I know that Curt Schilling just texted me and he said that have someone send me the link, and I know you did. If you can again, I'll send it to him now, saying that we sent it. We'll send it again. So we'll do it again. Hey, I'm not the most technically sound guy. Send it again. Tony, thank you. Right? You lose your balance. You lose your balance. Yes, we're going to get Curt Schilling on the program today. We're going to talk a little bit with Curt and get the former World Series MVP and Philly legend on with us here. We'll get his spin. One of the most unique people that you can listen to in sports. So we will talk to Curt Schilling. Supposed to be at 5:30 Eastern. We'll see. We may be getting him on a little bit sooner. So you think the Browns could be the Eagles? I like that, Greasy, because of Chubb. Chubb and getting the ball around to the receivers. Amari Cooper had 1,000 yards a year ago. That's a great one. The Browns are they're a balanced offense. Would we not say this? Buffalo's not a balanced offense. That's not a balanced offense. Okay? It's not. It's not a balanced offense. The Raiders, with Jacobs, when Carr was there, it's pretty balanced, but they didn't win. They didn't win. I have to think the Eagles are the most balanced football. Hey, get this. The Eagles are the most they were balanced in the Super Bowl, really. They were balanced in that game. I didn't really think that the Chiefs were all that. That's what those quarterbacks take away. So when you say, let's have Burrow as the quarterback, okay, in Philadelphia, would you really want Joe? Of course you would. But you wouldn't be the same dominant team that you would be when we're talking about having a balanced attack. Jalen utilizes everything on that team. Every single thing. You didn't say, I got it. But I would like to have winning involved with that, though, JM. Okay? I would like to have winning. Raiders O-line is not that hot. Okay? Michael, I don't believe that Sam Howell's beaten out Jacoby Brissett yet. How do you beat somebody out? in helmets and shorts? Don't you at least have to wait until like the season starts? How are you beating anybody out? Jalen's like a golfer. He uses every club in the bag. That's a great analogy. Right? Most of us use how many? Driver, 5-iron, pitching wedge, putter. Okay? That's great. That's right. Josh Allen uses a driver and a putter. That's a great analogy. All right, hour number 2. Don't forget, Curt Schilling's going to join us today, too. We're going to talk to the Philly legend. I'm going to look at the 49ers schedule. Somebody asked me to do that yesterday. I think that's a great idea. Hit the like button. Keep